All right, welcome to Liquid Lunch. We're coming at you live. It's Friday, April the 4th. We're doing a lot of Liquid Lunches this week. This is the third one this week, Rose.
That's wonderful, Hugh. That means there's a lot of great guests wanting to come on Liquid Lunch.
Well,
and so they should.
Yes, and it's been a little while since you and I have done the show together.
It has been.
And it's great.
It is. It's nice to be back. Thank you.
And you've put together a really great lineup of guests for a Friday Liquid Lunch, right?
Yes, thank you. It's going to be very exciting. We're starting off with Markus Rothkranz and his partner Karen Brotman, who are both raw food experts, and we'll hear more from them in a minute. And then we have Jesse Stewart, author, musician, sound healer, introducing his newest book. And then we have Dr. Ibrahim Karim, founder of Biogeometry, with Dr. Pier Paolo Alberghini.
Great architect, and we're going to be talking about biogeometry and biosignatures. And I guess they're in town for the, well, Pier Paolo lives here, but Dr. Karim's in town for the Total Health Show.
That's right.
Which is this weekend?
Yes, and they'll both be presenting there, and Markus and Karen as well are here for the Total Health Show. So lots of interesting things for our studio audience.
Yeah, fantastic. So Markus, welcome back.
Thank you.
And you brought Karen with you this time?
Cara, yes.
Cara.
Oh, Cara. Okay.
Oh, Cara.
Sorry.
All right. You know, that's Cara. Okay, great.
I'm so glad to be here. I love being on your show. I love you.
Aw, thanks, Markus.
In a non
Of course,
kind of
we know that. Well, okay, great to have you here. Now you got a new book, right?
I do. I've got several new books.
Wow.
The big bestseller that just came out is Instructions for a New Life. This is a pocket book that anybody can take with them when they travel, and it's basically the instructions for a new life. It's everything wrapped into one book. It all started when I wrote a book for prisoners in prison, and to help them get a new life. And then the lady that was going to get into the prison system, she said, you know, I'd love to read that because I just broke up with my relationship, and it sounds like everything that I need. And I realized, oh my God, everybody out there in the modern world is in some kind of prison, a relationship prison, a money prison, a health prison, more so than these people that are being taken care of in a prison.
Because those guys at least get their meals paid
right,
for.
Exactly. They don't have to worry about much. So I wrote this book, and it became a bestseller, and I'm really proud of it because it wraps up everything: relationships, health, money, success, your reason for being here. It answers like, what's the meaning of life? It's got everything in there. It's my gem. I love it.
Okay.
That was a great insight on your behalf, the allegory of a prison for
Yes.
actual inmates, and then vis-a-vis the prisons we all find ourselves in.
Yeah.
And I like, is it Promising True Freedom? That's the byline.
It does. It really talks about letting go. It's the whole reason most people are messed up is because they're hanging on to something. They're afraid to let go. They think that there's nothing better out there, so they're hanging on to the dysfunctional thing that they have. Better to have something dysfunctional than nothing at all, right? That's what they think. But the secret is you got to let go. And it all came to me years ago when I was in the desert, and I had I had the material things, the money, but I wasn't happy, and I gave it up. Went to the desert naked and said, I don't even care if I live. And that's when I realized when you don't have anything to hang on to anymore, that's when you're given life. And most people hang on to something. They're afraid to let go. Mm-hmm. It's like they're into comfort foods, a codependent relationship, whatever it is, they can't let go. And that's what you have to do.
Mm-hmm. What we call attachments. Are you talking about attachments?
Right.
Yeah.
But there's attachments that we don't even know we have.
Yeah.
And you're not given the kingdom of heaven, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's the same thing. It's like the goods. You don't get the goods until you're willing to let go of what you have right now. Mm-hmm. And you know, the thing that I tell people is like, you don't even have to be doesn't mean you have to give up your house, your car, your relationship, but you have to be willing to let it go. If it gets stolen, if your mate leaves you, if your house burns down, it should be okay because it's making room for the next thing that's better, that's more right for this moment. It doesn't mean letting go means you're going to literally be penniless on the street. Mm-hmm. It just means internally you're okay with it, not leaving you. And that's the first step, is to be okay with basically dying. That's when you're given life.
Markus, that's fascinating. I've known you more as a raw food expert, but I see now that your interests and your abilities go far beyond that.
Well, it's about health. It's about happiness and health. And really the key is, what is health? Some people say, well, you're eating the wrong foods. What magic herb, what magic pill do I take to hurt? It's not what you take, it's what you get rid of. And health, I mean, there's people out there that eat raw food and they aren't healthy and they drop dead at 70 because they're not satisfied with their life. They look at these people that eat pizza and they're jealous, Happiness is a big part of health. Stress is the biggest killer of all. So what is it that makes us happy? And that's really a big part of health. So what I teach people is self-empowerment. It's like to wake up in the morning and say, I'm not owned by anybody. I don't have to answer to anybody. And if you don't like your 9-to-5 job, why are you doing it? Well, I have to pay for my house, my bills, my car, blah, 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 blah. And okay, well, it's probably not your dream house. It's probably not your dream car. You're probably not in your dream relationship. So why are you killing yourself to pay for something that really isn't what you want? And that's the starting point of the new life. So health, yeah, eating the way nature intended, that's part of it, but it's not the whole package deal. The whole package deal is, are you happy with your relationship? Do you have your dream partner? Are you doing what are you giving something in the world that's making you alive, like you're here for a reason.
But as you said also, even if it was your dream house, even if it was your dream partner, your dream everything, the key still is not to be attached to it.
Right. Because it might be perfect for you right now at this moment, but if it gets taken away from you, it should be okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay because there's a million others out there. And we think that whatever we have right now, that's, gee, if I lose this, I might not have anything. I always tell people, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Well, I could die. Okay, well, why would that happen? Well, I could starve to death. Well, that's why I came out my book, Free Food and Medicine. It's the Worldwide Edible Plant Guide. It shows people that the dandelions, the weeds, the grass, the stuff that grows right in your yard, it's edible. It's the best free food and medicine there is. It's more powerful than the crap you buy in the grocery store. And so as soon as you realize that you can never starve, I walked naked into the desert with nothing. I threw away everything, my identity, my need to live, and I realized, oh my God, I am freer, more happier, more alive, more vibrant now than I have ever been in my life. And the funny thing is when you come back not needing anything, the world is handed to you on a silver platter. You're given all the luxuries of life. Look at the people, like if you become the next Gandhi, Jesus, whatever you call it, I'm not saying that's what I am, but boy, if you come back with a confidence, a strength to live, people want that. They say, I want what you have. And they will put you up in the palaces, they will drive you first class in limos, they will give you the life, and you don't have to pay for it. And you realize after a while, oh my God, the richest people in the world, they don't pay for any of that stuff. It's given to them because people want to give you the red carpet because you have a confidence that they want, that they need in life. And all it is the truth. All you need is a loincloth, basically. And I don't even wear that sometimes. I like to be naked all the time, but that's symbolic. Yeah. You don't need clothing. If we needed clothing, we'd be born with it, right?
So basically that book, I proofread it, it's like a manual to achieve emotional health, spiritual health, as well as...
That's what I was going to ask. Is it set up? Did you break it down into chapters that are?
I did. Yes.
So like a manual that
Yes.
you can follow step by step.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
starts with breaking down your identifying the stuff you've been programmed with. Most of the things that we do out of fear because society, our parents says don't do this or don't do that because this is it's bad. Rich people are mean, evil. You have to do certain things because, so you got to break down those negativity. You got to get into the right space before you can. It's like rebuilding anything: a house, a car, a human body, your soul, your mind. You have to break down the crap that made you messed up in the first place, and then you clean it out. Spring cleaning, and then you rebuild it with only the good stuff. And that, like relationships, everything you have is a relationship, not just with people, but with food. You got to clear it out. And your money, the reason you're here, what do you do with your life? So once you get rid of that and you don't have need for it, you ever notice, this is like a good example. When you want something really bad, you want that person, you want that guy or that girl.
You even want a red light.
Right. You go after that person.
Like you're at the red light, you're approaching a stop sign, and you're like, great, a red light is coming up because you need to do something, and it's always green. Right. Whereas when I don't want the red light, the green light, it's red, and when you want the red light, it's green.
But the point is, if you want something really bad, you usually go after it, and that's the wrong thing to do. You don't go after something because you're just going to chase it away. It makes you a stalker. right? Anybody comes after you really bad, they email you all the time, they send you gifts. It's like, okay, something's weird here, right? Pushes you away. That's the way nature is. If you run away from an animal, it runs after you. It doesn't know why, it just does. It's the way that the force of energy of the universe works. You go after something, you push it away. You want something, you do the opposite. You say, I don't need you. Now it wants you. So that's the key. You got to make space in your life. Get rid of the crap you're hanging on to. To make that void, you have a vacuum to suck that stuff to. And it's the same with relationships. So whatever it is that you have that's not working, just get rid of it. Don't worry about what's going to fill that void. It's not your job to know what's out there. I call it the cosmic GPS. It looks down and it sees what's down the road. It knows what's right for you. You learn to trust it, and it starts giving you what's right for you. And when you start living that way, and that's what the book explains, stuff starts getting handed to you. Like you start living like a dream that you didn't even know was possible. Whatever you want is based on what you know is possible. And once you get over that and you realize there's stuff out there that I don't even know is possible, and you open up to that possibility, now you're given stuff that's beyond anything you've ever imagined. And when she came along, I gave up. I said, I just need my space. You know, I'm tired with these dysfunctional relationships. And once you're okay with being with yourself, and you don't need anybody else, that's when they're handed to you.
And that's happened for me too.
Yeah, you got to prepare. You got to prepare. You got to be ready. And then it's a gift. You don't.
So that would be the key, it seems to me, because you can. The key is being whole within, being complete within, and not just, let's say, saying you don't want something, but really secretly you do.
You got to.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It has to be authentic.
You can't fool the universe.
That's right.
There's no shortcuts.
Right. Otherwise, it's just a head game.
Right, and you can't do that. You know this power of attraction thing. Like I want this. I got to get myself into this space of picturing myself having this and wanting it. It's not going to work. You have to not need it, and that's the irony of it. You want the royal treatment, you got to not want it or need it. Then it's given to you for free afterward. It's like the payoff. It's like a poker game. It's like but that's summed up in a summary.
Okay, Marcus, I have a question. You've been doing all the talking here.
Finally, the guy gets to speak.
No, Marcus has been doing the talking.
So I know. But I just want to, can you paint us the picture, like when you decided, what was going on when you decided, okay, I'm going to walk into the desert naked, and then what I'd really like is the picture of what happened, the moment where you realized you had the epiphany or whatever, that you gave it all up, and then you realized that the universe was going to give you everything back.
Well, the point you have to get to, I always say this, the greatest moment of your life, and this is sad for most people, is the moment before you die, because you're fighting your whole life. You just want to make it. You're just struggling. You're doing everything they tell you to do to get the house, the car, the picket fence, the kids, the life. You know, you just struggle, and then you get cancer, and then you're in bed, and then you realize you got moments to live, and then just before you die, you go, oh, I give up. Just when you're going to sleep, right? Right before you go to sleep, your mind goes crazy, and then at that last second before you shut off, you go, oh, you bliss out. That's the greatest moment of your life, is when you just give up. You say, all this TV chatter, turn it off, and you just say, okay, universe, take me. That's the second, and I get it. I finally get what the Bible and all these great teachings say. You can't get the kingdom, whatever the heaven, whatever you want to call it, is given to you when you give up, when you surrender. And it happened in the desert. I had the Hollywood life, I had the fancy stuff, and I wasn't happy, and I was dying. Physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. I gave up, went to the desert, and said, I don't care if I live. Because I've been living a lie. I've been like, everything they told me to do, it's not working. I got everything they told me to get.
And I'm still miserable.
And I'm not happy. You know, and so I went out, took my clothes off. I literally gave up my identity. And I said, I don't even care if my need to live, I gave it up. I walked in the desert naked, and I said, I don't have anything. Screw the world, I'm out of here. And it was the greatest feeling in the world to just let all that go.
I'm just curious as to how long you spent in the desert.
40 days, I actually
You did do the 40 days.
I'm serious. It just turned out that way. I know.
It always does.
I know. It's weird. But I went out there, and I just literally, I woke up the next morning, and I was first of all amazed that I survived the night. And I saw this eagle just quietly, just drifting in the air, way up there, just peacefully. I looked around and I saw like this little rabbit just doing its thing. I saw a turtle, I saw a coyote, I saw birds, and they're just like around me. And they weren't threatened by me. They accepted me as part of their world. And they weren't judgmental, like, oh, did you bleach your hair? Oh, how's your bank account? You know, like, they don't care. They're just accepting me as part of them. And I said, oh my God, finally I'm accepted. You know, I don't have to answer to anybody. You know, where were you last night? You know, like, how come you're not here at 3 o'clock?
Did you go out? Did you have a tent? Did you have provisions?
No, I was naked in the desert.
You had no water?
Nothing. I didn't care.
Nothing for 40 days.
That's the point. Everything
not
you
even water.
Everything you need, you're given when you're born. That's it. You have everything you need. And nature, that's what you realize. And this is the magic thing I talked about in my book. Just start walking. Listen to I call it the cosmic GPS. You know how GPS kind of tells you where to go and you trust that it knows what it's telling you? You don't know what's down the street. It says, take the next exit right. You don't know what's on that exit, but you trust the GPS. It kind of knows. Well, it's way up there. It can see more than we can. So I don't know how better to explain it, but there is a cosmic, there's got to be a higher consciousness than what we have, right? So you follow that. It's like it's in here. It's here, it's not here. Because most people follow this. This is fear-based. This is your heart. Your heart's kind of quietly whispering something that feels right. So that's what I did. I start following that, and I realized that all living things other than man just kind of do naturally what feels right in that moment. They don't question it. They don't think about it. They don't wonder what the repercussions of it's going to be. They just do it. And as soon as you start living that way, everything, you just start walking one foot in front of the other. You just do what feels right. If it tells you to turn a right like an animal feels, it doesn't know why, it just does. It just starts turning right. If you start following that cosmic GPS that all living things follow, the path starts, it's like headlights on a car at night. You're going 80 miles an hour. You can't tell what's down the road. You just see 100 feet in front of you, that's it. But you trust there's going to be more road. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going 80 miles an hour, right? So that's the same thing with life. We can only see this far. It's not our job to know what's down the road. We don't have to, why are we worried about it? Just trust there's going to be road. Start walking, the stepping stones appear, and the magic starts happening when you start doing that. When you stop worrying about tomorrow, the stepping stones appear, and after you know it, you go, my God, boy, this life is just appearing in front of me, and I'm getting this amazing stuff that I never would have gotten if I just followed the rules that society tells me to follow. Yeah, it's trust, it's faith, whatever you want to call it, but it works.
But you have to keep moving, though, even though it might not be the right thing.
No, you don't have to move.
If you keep moving, you'll eventually find.
Motion is good because it gets you further, but if it's too overwhelming, you can just stop. Right. Enjoy the scenery for a moment. It's like a trip. It's like any trip. You drive, but at some point you can stop and just chill, look at the scenery, and then you get restless and you keep traveling.
So how would you say your book is different from other people who've written on this subject matter?
I try to make stuff so simple that a 6-year-old can understand it. It's not this esoteric, metaphysical, deep, profound, yoga, meditation, and all this stuff. It's like I say it so an idiot can get it. And I actually have kids that write me and say, "This is the greatest thing I've ever. This is what I wish they would have given me when I was a kid," and that's why I wrote it, because I spent 50 years figuring this out. I'm 51, 52 this year. And I go, I wish they would have given me when I was a kid. I would have saved myself a lot of grief, a lot of pain, a lot of agony, a lot of relationship issues if they just would have told me the basic rules when I was younger. And it's for everybody. Everybody's got some kind of prison they're in.
Now, you're in town for the Total Health Show, right?
Yes.
So now, what are you going to be doing down there
well, I have a
this
booth.
weekend?
I have a booth, and I'm giving 2 talks, one on instructions for a new life, and one on free food and medicine, how to recognize the wild natural things in your neighborhood, and how every living thing has a purpose. And that's what this book is actually about, that it talks about not just recognizing the plants and stuff that are growing wild in your area, but it also says what health conditions they're for. And in the back has a list of health conditions as a cross-reference, everything from bursitis to Alzheimer's to whatever, and what plants are good for those.
It's about going to the book rather than a doctor for whatever ails you, because this heals, whereas the doctor just puts a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, he just hides your symptoms with a certain drug, which gives you more side effects and crap.
And your knowledge of these things is what helped you survive for 40 days in the desert as well?
No, you don't need knowledge. You just have to have faith that what feels right is going to come to you, and you're just going to follow it.
But this certainly helps if you are in the desert.
It helps.
For example, did you go to the cactus and get the water out, or?
The water just showed up. I mean, there's when there's dew, there's places where it gathers, and stuff. There's actually quite a bit of water in the desert. You just watch the animals. Where are they getting their stuff from? They must know something we don't, you know. And they don't have a map. Animals aren't given like, oh, by the way, you go 3 miles that way, take a right, there's going to be some water. They just sense it. So you got to tune into something different than this, because this is what's screwing us up. We think everything has to be logic based.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, you went out into the desert and you depended on the universe to give you what you needed. And I've heard other things. Well, I went out into the wilderness. It wasn't the desert because it's Canada, but one time, and I got poison ivy, right? And then I had a book or whatever that said within 10 feet of any kind of problem plant, there is a solution
yes, there's
plant.
the antidote plant.
And so I was able to identify the antidote plant to poison ivy because it was there as well.
Right, yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, jewelweed is really good for poison ivy. It's like that with life. Anything that you have, any challenge, whatever you want to call it, the answer's already right there. You're not given a challenge in life unless the answer's already within reach.
It's kind of like they say, the answer to every question is embedded within the question.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, so this book that you have over there, sorry, what is it called? The
Free Food Medicine Worldwide Edible Plant Guide.
Yeah.
Okay, are those plants specialized on North American plants?
It's worldwide.
Worldwide.
Actually, it's kind of funny. When I got off the plane in Moscow, it's the same weeds that we have. And you go anywhere in the world. Yeah, there's some specific plants in certain areas, Australia, South America, the desert. And I have sections. There's a desert section. There's flowers, trees, but overall the main flowers and plants and weeds are worldwide. The basic family, whatever you want to call it, is everywhere. And that's what this is about, is the basic, if you know this is the basic family structure, and then I get into the main fancy ones that each, like Hawaii and Australia and the desert has. They're in there too. I mean, short of, I don't want to like aggravate the religious people, but this is kind of a Bible. If society collapses, this book will help you survive, and that one is like the new rule book for guidance, because there's so many people that go to church that aren't happy. They have relationship issues, secretly get divorced, but they don't want to tell people because they're humiliation, you know. They still don't know what real health is. They don't eat right. They don't have relationship things that are working. They're not happy with their job. They're not. So there's got to be some other basic truths that they should get, and that's what this is. I'm not trying to interfere with religions. This isn't even a religion. This is just a basic common sense that every living thing on the planet follows.
Common sense living. And can I ask you another question about the plants? Within our food system today, we say that the nutrition we derive from plants isn't the same as it used to be because of mineral depletion of the soil.
Good.
You know, there's things like radiation fallout. How does that affect wild plants?
Okay, well, this one is mainly about wild plants. It has some cultivated plants in there, but the stuff you buy in the grocery store, the produce, is raised in farm soil that's been depleted for the last 100 years. There's almost no magnesium left in the soil. They use NPK, but there's 80 other minerals that are supposed to be in there that are not. So they really suck the soil dry on the farm plants. And the farm plants, the roots only go, this much deep because they know they're going to get watered every day. They don't have to try very hard to live. They're like spoiled, coddled brats. But the wild plants, the stuff that grows under the crack in the sidewalk, it doesn't get watered. It has to try really hard to survive. So these things grow roots, like red clover, 124 feet in the ground.
The soil hasn't been depleted.
The soil hasn't been touched. Alfalfa, 200 feet roots.
How do we know that it's pure soil? How do we know it's not landfill that has been trucked in from somewhere else?
That's what these plants do. What's even more interesting is if you create poisoned soil or landfill or anything, watch what happens. Watch what grows in those areas. Thistles, burdock, dandelions. The plants go through certain phases. These are like the commandos that get sent in, like the first reactors to a natural disaster. They get sent in, put these deep tap roots down way below like hundreds of feet down, and they start bringing up the nutrients that they're designed to bring up, and they recycle the soil and make it fertile topsoil. And once that plant has done its job, the next plant comes in and enriches that even more with other nutrients. So it goes through phases, and these plants are like the ones that help enrich and recycle the soil.
So even within, let's say, if such a plant would be a taproot, is burdock a taproot?
Yes, they're all.
So if the burdock plant, let's just say, for instance, was the first plant moving into an environment like that,
it's not going to be.
It
but
would
it is.
not. It would not be collecting the toxins within its.
No, they actually, plants are amazing. They distill and chelate things. Chelation means, okay, that's one of the best things for radiation. It's one of the best things for anything that's toxic, and this is what ozone does. It chelates. It takes something that's toxic and neutralizes it so it's not toxic anymore, and recycles it back into the common elements that we need for life. And that's one of the, I had a video that just came out about a nuclear survivor, radiation from Chernobyl, and a guy that worked as a test pilot that flew through an actual mushroom cloud in a radiation test. They're still alive, and they're healthier than they have been because of certain things they did. One of them is they took a lot of green juices, a lot of seaweeds, and ozone and things like that. And that's basically distillation and chelation from the plants of what they do, what that chlorophyll does to you on the inside.
I wanted to add, that's why your green formula is so powerful, because it's the wild. It's got wild greens in it.
They're all wild plants.
That still has
these things
nutrients.
These things are survivors. They're made to survive. They don't need water. They don't need anything. And if you eat a survivor, you become a survivor. You get that strength from these guys rather than some wimpy little thing you buy in a grocery store, which, by the way, was probably picked a week or two ago. It's already withered. Vitamins are gone. It's dead food. This stuff is powerful. It's 1,000 times more powerful and nutrition rich because it's got roots hundreds of feet deep.
That's interesting because, we've had shows about wine here, and they talk about that the grapes that aren't watered and that have to work hard, like you say, to dig down deep, like they get a better flavor. They make better wine that way.
Any plant, if you run it through hell, if you make it starve and then you make it not have water and then you give it heat and you almost fry it, it concentrates like say a hot pepper. It will concentrate the hot pepper elements and it will make the pepper hotter. Or
it's like people, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Your character gets stronger.
Right?
So whatever it is that your character is, it gets stronger by beating you up.
Makes you more creative.
A diamond is just a piece of charcoal.
Exactly.
It's been through a lot.
Exactly.
Under pressure.
And that's why I always say, pain is the greatest thing for building character and strength. It's good. It has its purpose, and welcome it, love it, cherish it, because it's not going to last forever. It's like boot camp,
Okay, guys. Well, it's great to have you on the show. And here's the book again. I'll just hold it up here. Instructions for New Life, and you're going to be giving a talk on this. Which day at the Total
That one
Show?
Is Saturday tomorrow.
Saturday.
At,
okay.
12.
And where is it? Down at the
Metro Toronto Convention Center. Yes.
And then Sunday, I guess you're giving the other talk, right?
Yeah, Sunday too is for the free food and medicine edible plants.
All right.
And you'll have both of those books available for purchase?
Yes,
as well?
they will be there, and Cara will be there. We'll be talking a lot about relationship stuff. That'll be for the instructors for tonight, because a lot of people don't care about health. This is what they care about.
And raw foods as well. I'll be talking about raw food.
That's very
on the raw
sweet.
food thing now. This is my raw food.
Okay, and we're going to play a video now about the book. But before we go, what's the website where people can, just follow up with you? And
my newsletter site is markusnews.com, M-A-R-K-U-S, news.com. And my, if you want to learn about the products and stuff, the books, it's at healanything.com.
Okay, great. Okay, Markus.
That's a pretty
Cara?
catchy name, healanything.com.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in. Looking
Thanks
forward
for
to reading the
having us.
book.
Thanks, Hugh.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
here's a
Thanks,
little
Cara.
video about the book. We're going to come back with Jesse Stewart as Liquid Lunch continues. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
So many people are unhappy in today's world because they're caught up in a cycle of just trying to survive and end up doing things they really don't want to do to pay for things they really don't want. They seek comfort in the wrong foods, wrong relationships, and destructive habits just so they can make it another few hours. People everywhere are feeling a great emptiness, alone in a vast world with little direction or meaning. Almost everybody's in some kind of prison, a relationship prison, a money prison, a job prison, or a health prison. But there's always a way out. Even if you have children, you can still be free to live your dreams. If only we were given an instruction book when we were born. From international best-selling writer Markus Rothkranz, author of Heal Yourself 101, The Prosperity Secret, and the Free Food and Medicine Worldwide Edible Plant Guide, comes the most definitive step-by-step book ever written on starting over from a life of confusion, desperation, pain, and emptiness. This book is the trumpet call for a new life, one with meaning and purpose. People want to be wanted. You need a purpose, and you need to be appreciated, and this can be fulfilled by having something to offer the world. Greatness comes from inner strength to make a difference in the world, no matter what it takes. This book will show you how. Instructions for a New Life starts with letting go of all the old thought patterns, destructive habits, relationships, and material things we cling to. It teaches us not to fear loss by finding an inner peace that transcends our paranoid thoughts, and then cleanse our life and body. Literally, this book has step-by-step instructions and explanations. Now, with a new body and mind, we need a purpose. Everyone is here for a reason. Every person that's ever changed history had the courage to follow their personal inner voice, despite the odds against them. Some of the most powerful people in history had nothing but a loincloth, but were more powerful than the governments and ended up changing the world. This is our birthright. It is our destiny. This book will change your life. Stop listening to other people and start listening to yourself. This book finally answers the most profound questions ever asked. Who or what are we? Why are we here? Why do bad things happen to good people and good things often happen to bad people? If there is a God, how could it let this happen? And the greatest question ever asked, what is the meaning of life? Don't waste one more second of your precious life and get on with what you are here to do. If there's only one book you read in life, make this that book. If you want the answers, here it is.